A new federal civil complaint is filed by Jane Doe against Asheville Academy, Trails Carolina, and their management companies. Now, it claims parents trusted those facilities to help. Now that they're demanding answers.
Asheville Academy surrendered its license following 2 girls' suicides in May, but the investigation is far from over. Investigative reporter Jennifer Emmert talks with the state's health secretary about troubling patterns, plus what the voices of those enrolled and employed expose behind closed doors.
The soothing drone of cicadas and songbirds outside Asheville Academy are in stark contrast to the outrage for the facility shared online.
I can't imagine the pain that these kids are still going through.
Asheville Academy is worse than living in the wilderness for 11 weeks.
I used to go here last year, and this is insane. I want this place shut down.
Emergency lights flashed at the Therapeutic School for Girls May 3rd when a 13-year-old died by suicide. On the 27th, North Carolina's Mental Health Licensure and Certification Section suspended admissions. Our attempts to talk with Asheville Academy then were met with hostility and a call to law enforcement.
Do you have questions, or y'all just...
But when I tried to ask...
We're not obligated to talk to you.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
And the thing is, ma'am, we have students that travel from this building to this building.
We're not shooting any video.
How do I know that? He's filming me right now.
Well, you didn't even bother to ask.
Enrolled students were allowed to stay despite written state concerns.
You're looking at individuals who are most in need and found themselves in an even more vulnerable situation.
It's an issue I raised with North Carolina's Health Secretary Dr. Dev Sangvi.
I think the state's letter to the facility said the documented violations indicate that conditions at the facility are found to be detrimental to the health and safety of the clients. Still, students were allowed to remain at the facility.
Yeah. And I think that's part of what we need to understand is one of the most important things we wanted to do was to let's make sure no other students get into there. And during that time period, had to think through what happens next. So again, part of an ongoing investigation, and as we uncover more when it's appropriate to share what the results of that are, we will.
2 days after the state suspended admissions, sirens roared again, this time over a 12-year-old suicide. 6 days later, the facility voluntarily surrendered their license.
Does that mean the state ends its investigation?
Not at all. No. Just because you surrender or forfeit your license doesn't mean we end our investigation. So I can't comment on the specifics of the investigation, but we are proceeding.
Administrative penalties detailed in a state letter June 16th fined Asheville Academy $45,000 for 3 license violations and deficiencies, including failing to provide adequate staff training and CPR certification. The report reveals at least one therapist told state surveyors they didn't know how staff identified who was on safety precautions because they hate the facility's electronic record and few use it. An open records request to the Buncombe County Sheriff's Office for calls in the last 5 years revealed at least one prior suicide attempt in June of 2023 and an overdose case that resulted in further investigation. Other reports of alleged sex offenses, child abuse, assaults, and neglect were closed or cleared. I went back to Asheville Academy within the last 2 weeks.
Is there anybody with the facility that we could talk to?
All I have received are statements from the parent company Wilderness Training and Consulting. Former employees off camera have shared they feel the school accepted clients they didn't have the resources to care for.
Is there anything the state can do in ensuring that facilities aren't taking clients just for the sake of taking clients, that they actually have the services to meet the needs of a client?
Right. Well, the type of clients that a facility can take are governed in large part by the type of license that the facility has.
Asheville Academy is licensed for children or adolescents who have a primary diagnosis of mental illness or emotional disturbance and who may have other disabilities. It's also licensed for 90 clients. When students were sent home in June, there were 29 enrolled. In March, when the state investigated an unsubstantiated complaint and the facility was listed as Magnolia Mill, there were 27 clients. In August of last year, as few as 4 were enrolled. Enrollment in 2022, when the facility was called Solstice East, averaged between 30 and 34. The facility has an opportunity to appeal the state's penalties and submit a plan of correction. June 3rd, in a statement, Asheville Academy said it made the difficult decision to voluntarily close its doors. Still, the state investigation continues.
Well, anytime anyone's health and safety is at risk, we're going to make the right decision to ensure that nobody is put at additional risk.
There were still some staff on site over the last 2 weeks despite the closure. Asheville Academy's timeline to appeal the penalties stretches into July. Got an accountability issue you want investigated? Email iteam@WLOS.com.
Thank you, Jen. And there is more on that new federal civil complaint that we mentioned at the beginning.
Go to WLOS.com and search Asheville Academy.